I've made 2 Boom videos in a row where the main focus is not on how bad the game is. In fact, it's the exact opposite. I'm treating it like it's a normal game. This feels weird. Almost as weird as some of the fun facts I'm about to share with you. Most of them were discovered while I was making the challenge video, which I find kinda funny. There really wasn't a way to implement them in that video, so instead I decided to give them their own video. These are some neat things I found in Sonic Boom: Rise of Lyric. I'm not sure if many people are aware of this, but this game has a soundtrack. I know, it's crazy, right? No one seems to remember any of the songs, so I just assumed y'all never knew it existed. That was stupid. Yeah, the soundtrack isn't very memorable, but I gotta admit, some of the songs are pretty dang good, even with the lack of instrument variety. I can at least tell there was effort put into them, especially Shadow's theme. Why specifically Shadow? Because they made 3 variations of his boss battle music. Now, this isn't uncommon in Rise of Lyric. Most of the levels use multiple versions of their own theme depending on what scenario you're in. But what makes Shadow so special is that he is the only boss who gets this treatment. There's the normal theme for when we start the fight. The second phase adds a mysterious frosty ambience when we enter the Ice Age. And the prehistoric era will use some kind of flute, albeit only at the very beginning and the end of the song. I never knew Shadow had variations to his theme until I looked up the soundtrack. And oddly enough, when I went to go listen to them in-game, I could only hear one version, and surprisingly, it was the Ice Age variation. Even after cranking up the music, muting all the other sounds, and also using a pair of earbuds, I kept hearing this chilly breeze throughout the entire fight. I guess the other 2 versions are unused. Metal Sonic also has something interesting with his boss music. He doesn't have variations like Shadow, but instead he uses 2 completely different songs. During our first encounter, everything plays out as it should. We get to hear his actual theme. However, if you were to exit the game and reload the save file, the music will change. What we're listening to is actually the same song that plays during the Slowpoke Isle chase sequence. While we're on the subject of music, take a listen to this. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bro, put on something else. I want to hear something good. Well, I did put on something else, so that automatically makes it good. This isn't a Rise of Lyric song, it's Shrouded Forest from Sonic and the Black Knight. I know this one's cheating, but I really wanted to show off how shockingly similar this sounds to a Boom song. After sitting through all of that, I'm sure you were hoping to hear something with a little more spunk, right? Unfortunately, none of the in-game songs really tried to catch that traditional Sonic vibe. They aimed for something more atmospheric and orchestral here. Can't say the same thing about the trailers though, they go hard as f***. Back when this was first revealed as Sonic Synergy, they had Skrillex's Bangarang of all things playing in the background. Not saying that's a bad choice, I just was not expecting it. In addition to that, there were 2 other songs used for trailers. Whiteout by David Klinik, and Tough Luck by Mitchell Ray Marlowe. Here's a quick snippet of Tough Luck to give you an idea of what they sound like. You heard that? That's an electric guitar, something not present in the final game. But what is in the final game is a surprising amount of collectibles, one of which being shinies. When we talk to Styx, she explains we can find them at the end of a trail of footprints. We can find some as soon as we arrive in Bygone Island, but weirdly enough we can't collect them. Even though we are ground pounding in the correct spot, shinies cannot be obtained until we encounter Styx. And speaking of Styx, when we first talk to her, she'll be standing outside of this corridor, but for every subsequent moment, she'll be standing outside of her house. If we go back to the corridor, we can find that her blue aura veil is still there, as if she never changed her position. If you reload a save file and don't see the aura, use the upgrade machine next to Styx. That should make it appear again. Did you also know Amy was originally going to be an NPC? Nah, I'm just kidding. But did you actually know this is the only Sonic game from the 2010s where we get to control the camera? That was a really stupid one, but the more you know. While running in a speed section, hold back on the analog stick. Not only does this slow you down, but it also stops you dead in your tracks. Most of these segments aren't actually automated, so you can move around at your own pace. I already explained this in the challenge, by the way. There were a few more interesting scenarios from that video, but if I listed all of them, we'd be here way longer than we need to be. So if you're curious, you could go click that link in the top right corner and check out all the wacky shenanigans I came across, huh? Certain robots have super armor, if that's what it's called in this game. Basically, for a brief period, they become invincible and cannot be grabbed with the Enter Beam. But there is one exception. Those dang eyeballs. There are two types, the ones that roll and the ones that bounce. If we're fighting against the kind that rolls on the ground, nothing changes, but for the kind that bounces into the air, we can actually grab them with the Enter Beam whenever they're not touching the ground. Interesting counterplay. During the first phase of Slowpoke Isle's chase sequence, intentionally unalive yourself. After respawning, Lyric will throw one or two bursts of energies, and then he just leaves. Then he comes back to attack us, and then he leaves again. I don't know why this happens, but I love it. Let's pretend you're having trouble with a certain jump. You can't reach that platform because it's too far away. What could you do to travel a little farther? Well, if you press the jump button right after leaving the ledge, you can actually perform your first jump mid-air, meaning you're able to use your double jump afterwards. Don't jump too late or else you will only be using your double jump. I had fun with this one, but in practicality, this is really only useful in this specific section of Creeper Gorge. Staying in this level, there is an open section where vines will burst out of the ground. That looks a little dangerous, so I need you to come over here and feel this crazy rock. Holy shit. I'm guessing that the floor doesn't reach this far, so we're technically not standing on anything. But because of the rock's collision, we aren't going out of bounds. This is causing us to fall in place. As Sonic, start mashing the attack button. During the finishing hit, he will leave the ground by kicking into a backflip. When the animation gets to the point where he's in the air, perform a spin dash. If timed correctly, we can see he's in this weird state where he rolls up for a spin dash but doesn't charge forward. We can move around like this for a few seconds too. This does not work if enemies are nearby. Also, if we use the spin dash right before touching a boost pad, he will stay rolled up for the duration of the speed boost. I don't know why that boggled me the first time I saw it. I wasn't expecting this game to follow normal Sonic logic here. I got curious and tried this out with the other character specials. I don't know what I was expecting from this, but I found out we're able to cancel our run by performing a special attack. It can also be stopped with a normal attack, an aerial attack, and a dodge. While messing around with this, I somehow got part of Sonic's body beneath the sand. Oh, wait, that's just how the game is. Alrighty then. While running along the trail that leads to the pit, we can find 3 robots that aren't moving. If we take a closer look, we can see that they're broken down and out of commission. The fact that we get to see this right before entering a polluted industrial site is a really nice detail. I'm kinda surprised they had time to put this in here. Speaking of details, during the cutscene right before Metal's boss fight, we can see Sonic's face reflecting off of Metal's head. The majority of the NPCs are not solid objects. They have no collision and you can walk right through them. There are 2 that don't follow this rule, Quincy in Ocean Purification Plant, and this turtle in Lyric's Weapon Facility. Quincy is surrounded by an invisible wall. We're also able to stand on top of him. The turtle has different properties for some reason. If we jump on top of him, we will be falling in place. While goofing around with this, I just discovered that every character has multiple falling animations, depending on if they used one jump, two jumps, or no jumps. I also just realized that Sonic turns his body to the right when he jumps. Why? It's so awkward. That's better. When I was editing both of the Boom videos, I noticed a lot of strange oddities in the cutscenes. More specifically, there were many instances of the characters being expressive, having fluent animations, and even moving their eyebrows. This caught me off guard because, well, this is a modern Sonic game. They usually don't have stuff like that. In all seriousness, there are numerous moments where there's a character T-posing at the beginning of a cutscene, or the entire scene will change for a split second. Here's a short little montage of all the ones that I could find. This last one is my favorite. First, as Tails, set up the buddy bots and wait for them to attack one of the enemies. Use the enter beam on the same enemy that the buddy bots are beating up, and once we throw them... Since the robot is no longer grounded, the continuous hits from the buddy bots are keeping it airborne. Watching them ascend beyond the top of the screen is always funny to me, and seeing them plummet back down to the ground is just as humorous. Yep, that's all I got. This was just meant to be a fun video, so thank you for watching, and I hope you continue to have a great day. Cue the cringe outro.